Hey, what is up, everybody? This is Steve Breach coming to you here today. Had a lot of fun in the video that I made this morning. Ended up talked for a long time, more than I thought I was going to. I got really excited, so I thought I'd come back tonight with another video. These ones where I don't really talk about what's going on with wrestling news, those ones are really fun. But I thought I would just kind of go gem old school style, pull something out of the hat, talk about it. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. We talked about Ultimate Warrior's return at Wrestlemania 8 this morning, so I thought I'd hit Hulk Hogan's return at Wrestlemania 9. The one thing that surprised me about Ultimate Warrior returning at Wrestlemania 8 was that as a kid watching wrestling, I honestly didn't even realize the Warrior was gone. SummerSlam 91 happened the next day. No Warrior, I didn't even notice. from the SummerSlam, Survivor Series, Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, didn't even notice he was gone. Just basically, I was eating what they were giving to me. I was watching Superstars. I was watching Challenge, and watching the shows as they came along on Coliseum Home Video. They didn't talk about the fact he was gone. They didn't bring it up. I didn't even notice. Ultimate Warrior, Hulk Hogan, the build-up to WrestleMania 8, the match against Sid Justice. That was his last match. It was announced. He was going off. He was to try bigger and better things. He thought he'd done everything there was to do in the WWF. He had fought in every challenge. He was going to make movies. He wanted to see what he could do with No Holds Barred, Suburban Commando. Before WrestleMania 9, he had made a movie, Mr. Nanny. I think, honestly, the reason why he came back to WWF for WrestleMania 9 was the same reason The Rock came back to WWE for WrestleMania 27 to build the WrestleMania 28. The Rock had made a few movies that didn't work out earlier in his career. It was not like The Scorpion King, was not like The Rundown. He had sort of just fallen flat. I think he had separated himself from the wrestling fans too far. He wasn't making those action-style movies. And I think he wanted to get that fan base back on board. He comes back. Wrestling fans, we welcome him back with open arms. We take him in. Hulk Hogan, when he left, one of the biggest reasons why he left was the fact that Hulkamania was not running wild like it used to. You go to my house, Sacramento, California, Hulkamania running wild to the day it died. Loved him. But go back. Watch the build-up to WrestleMania 8, the Royal Rumble, where Ric Flair wins. It ends up being the final three. Hulk Hogan, Sid Justice, and Ric Flair. Sid Justice sneaks up from behind and dumps out Hulk Hogan. The crowd immediately notices Hulk Hogan's not going to win. Hulk Hogan is not going to win his third Royal Rumble in a row. Hulk Hogan is not going to win his third WWF Championship. We're going to have a new champion. The era of Sid Justice or the era of Ric Flair is fixing to begin. The crowd goes bananas for it. It is the one. It was like when we were all wanting Roman Reigns to turn heel. Like we were telling, like, hey, this is going to work. And Vince was like, no, he is our Hulk Hogan. He is our John Cena. We're going to continuously pump him down, even though everyone in the arenas is chanting that Roman sucks, because people were still going to the merch stands. They were buying Roman Reigns t-shirts and things like that. So that's the same reason Vince had his feet stuck in Hulkamania, saying this is all it's going to be. This is what it's going to do. I think when Hulk came back, the plan was Hogan's going to do WrestleMania 9. He'll go over, he'll do a European tour. It was announced as Hulkamania's Farewell UK Tour is what it was supposed to be. Hulk Hogan basically shows up on Monday Night Raw. If you were watching wrestling as I was back in the day, I'll tell you the truth. I wasn't even watching. This angle took place on Monday Night Raw. The Breach household this year, I'm guessing, 1992, we didn't have cable. We had fallen on hard times at the Breach House. I was not a Monday Night Raw watcher back in the day. What I did was I gave a blank tape to my friend Sean Surtzer. He would record Raw for me. And the deal was, because he had a bedtime, he wasn't able to stay up and watch it all. He would watch the tape on Tuesday when he got home from school, bring it to school. I would have the tape on Wednesday. And as long as I brought it back and gave it to him on Monday, we were good to go. And that's how I got started in the tape trading business. One day, he handed me the tape and told me Hulk Hogan showed up on Raw. I did not believe him. Hulk Hogan was not a guy, unless it was like the Brother Love show or something like that showed up and did anything on Challenge, on Superstars. We basically just saw clips of him doing interviews when they were coming to your town. You saw things with Mean Gene backstage, like hyping people up to buy the pay-per-view. We were trained. You only see Hulk. You pay money. Go see him in Arco Arena when he does your house show loop. You buy the pay-per-view. That was it. Buy your Coliseum home videos. Go to Blockbuster, rent the tapes. Only way to see Hulk Hogan. You could turn on. You could see almost anybody else at least work one job match. There were no job matches for Hulk Hogan. That was it. So Hogan comes back. I think it's basically to push Mr. Annie, trying to get that off the board. The plan is that he's coming to save Brutus Beefcake. Brutus Beefcake had been embarrassed on Monday Night Raw by IRS and Ted DiBiase, otherwise known as Money Inc. They were the tag champions at the time. And Brother Brudai, his best friend in the world, everybody knows, shoot or not, Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan comes out to save Brutus Beefcake, and it basically announces the challenge. WrestleMania 9, we are going to have a tag title match. Hulk Hogan and Brutus Beefcake against Money Inc. As a kid back in the day, my mind was going crazy. We had never seen Hulk Hogan fight for anything other than the WWF Championship. There was a short run when he was not the champion, and Ultimate Warrior was, like his match against Earthquake, SummerSlam 1990. I'm pretty damn sure that was still the main event of the show, even though it wasn't for the championship. So to have Hulk Hogan in a match that looked like it was not going to be the main event of WrestleMania, I had no clue. There's a book that came out. I think it's just called WrestleMania 2000, or it's something close to that. It's got Triple H on the cover with Stephanie walking to the ring. And it's a really cool book. Lots of pictures. It's got an entry about every single WrestleMania. It's a few pages long. You can read it. When you look at the one for WrestleMania 9, when WWF was coming to Las Vegas, when they were going to Caesars and saying, we want, WrestleMania, we're going to put it together. Caesars was telling them how grateful they were to have Hulk Hogan come and push WrestleMania. And WWF had to tell them, like, Hogan's not coming. And they were like, oh, yeah, sure. Just thinking that they were, like, going along with the show. And WWF had to, like, rest assured, like, Hogan left. Hogan's going to make movies. He's not with us anymore. And they kept telling him. And day of, Caesars got what they wanted. But he was not in the plans to be there. But even though he was only supposed to be there for this Money Inc. tag thing, we all know the story, what happens. If you read Hogan's book, Hogan says it's his idea. He comes to WrestleMania weekend. He's got a huge shiner on his eye. He had a jet ski accident. Some people say that he got knocked up by Macho Man Randy Savage because he was mad about the divorce to Miss Elizabeth. That's all bullshit. I think the jet ski story is honestly 100% true. Brutus Beefcake had basically got a new jet ski. They were out there in the water in Tampa, Florida, and Hulk Hogan wanted to try out the new jet ski. He hit a wave. He flew over the top. He was not wearing the safety device that kills the motor on the jet ski. If you don't have the kill on it, basically what happens is the jet ski is like trained to just basically cut a left and just goes in a circle if it's not there. So basically, if you fall off, the jet ski just is doing donuts out there in the water. That's why it's good to wear the safety device, which connects to your wrist, that pulls the throttle and kills it if you were basically to fall off out there. But as the jet ski is coming back around to make its turn, Hogan's there. The jet ski ends up hitting another wave that's out there in the water, and it pops up and just hits him right in the eye. His shiner looks like basically his eye is falling out of the thing. If you go out and you get the Hulk Hogan Elite. No, it's not an Elite. It's the Ultimate that just came out. It actually has the shiner on one of the faces. One of the coolest figures that I think, honestly, that you could get out there. But even with his eye falling out of his face, basically Hogan goes to Vince and he says, hey, you want to know how we can connect Hulkamania to the new generation, bridge that gap, pass the torch? We all know that Yokozuna is going to defeat Bret Hart at WrestleMania 9. What we do then is we do a screw job finish where basically I come out and basically like try to right the wrong. Mr. Fuji challenges me to get in the ring and I beat Yokozuna. Basically, you have built Yokozuna up to WrestleMania 9 by winning the Royal Rumble, then making him go through every single guy, whether if it's doing 3-on-1 jobbers matches on Superstars, by killing Hacksaw Jim Duggan in the ring. Basically, what you're doing is just pumping him up, only to have him win the championship and then get defeated by Hulk Hogan not even a minute later. In my mind, doesn't make much sense. But what Hogan was trying to do was get Vince to connect Hulkamania and Bret Hart. If you read Bret Hart's book, that's exactly what Vince pitched to him. He was thinking they were going to go and get to SummerSlam, and they would do Bret versus Hogan, and Hogan would put over Bret. Basically, those plans changed, brother, and we ended up just going back to King of the Ring, where we ended up doing Hogan versus Yoko, and then SummerSlam ends up being all about the Lex Express and Lex Luger. Bret Hart's not even in the title picture. It's almost like he's getting left out and just basically getting left behind. Hogan, whether just felt Mr. Nanny coming on and just thought that it was going to be a big deal and he needed to get back to Hollywood, brother. It just didn't work out for him, and he ended up leaving before he got the taste of Ted Turner's money and going back to WCW. This is which caused a huge divide between Bret Hart and Hulk Hogan. Bret still talks bad about Hulk to the day. Hulk always kind of maintains the story of he always was there to do business. He did the business that Vince told them to do. Vince told them to put over Yokozuna, and that's exactly what he did. He thinks that Bret Hart heard something from Vince McMahon that Bret thought he heard, but it wasn't what Vince told him. That it's backed up by Hogan, that's backed up by Bruce Pritchard, that they had a sit-down meeting and Vince tried to call him out. And Bret tried to call out Vince, and Vince had to put Bret in his place. Tell him this is what the plan's always been. This is what we're going with. And basically told Bret that if he wanted to leave, if he wanted to go to WCW, which was the first time that Bret reaches out and tries to get a job at WCW, he had been the champion and he wanted to be the champion again. He ends up getting the belt after WrestleMania 10 a year later, and the show kind of is built around him. But, he had gotten a little taste. He wanted the big taste. And, Vince, as well as Hogan, didn't think he was ready. So Hogan came back for a tag match, which ended up him winning the title. You go back and you watch it. I think the fans were excited for a minute that they got to see Hulkamania win the belt. But the second that they realized that WWF had started to go in a different direction, had started to go with the new era of wrestling with guys like Bret Hart as like having a real wrestler out there winning matches. The second that they realized we're going backwards and we're going back to Hogan being his champion, by the time the show's over, people aren't happy. I think that's what, Hogan comes back to WCW and he's running with Hulkamania. The reason why we go NWO is because even then, fans aren't wanting to see the red and yellow anymore. They had seen it. They had done it for, I'm guessing, 15 years at that time. And they just wanted to go in a different direction. I'm sure kids like me were loving it, but everybody else in the world was ready to squash it and move along. And it's one of the reasons why I think a lot of people were turning off the TVs and they were losing a lot of viewers during that time. If you go back to 92, 93, your years with the doinks and things like that, around WrestleMania 9, WrestleMania 10, WWF just falls flat. And I think it's just basically they had done Hulkamania to death. They killed it. they brought it back, and the fans were like even doubled down, like, nope, we really want out. So Hogan's return, no good, WrestleMania 9.